Hey guys, welcome back to another exciting edition of Fun with Cards. And the card we're going to be spotlighting this time is Lord Xander the Collector. I've just been having so much fun with this card, and I wanted to just do a little highlight / deep dive into the amazing versatility that you can get into with this card here. So, first showcase we'll do is with Angrath because he's the most obvious choice, right? Your opponent discards 2 cards, and then his second ability destroys the top 5 cards of your opponent's library. So that's ripe for abuse with Angrath. His ability to cause damage when you make your opponent discard a card makes him an obvious choice. So I'll spotlight that first, and we'll see how that goes. So, in the course of spotlighting Xander, I'm hoping that I can show off some of the other great new Capenna cards that I've gotten as of recent, such as Meeting of the Five. And Meeting of the Five is a card that's going to help me get Lord Xander on the battleground. So, it's a really good card for that. Arcane Bombardment and Velomachus play well together. So we got Lord Xander and Mr. Orfeo, and I'm using Mr. Orfeo because it's just a card that easily gets summoned with Meeting of the Five. Before they fixed Meeting of the Five, you would be able to just pull 3 Lord Xanders out with one casting of Meeting of the Five. But since they fixed that, it only pulls the 3 different cards that have 3 colors in your deck. So if you only have one color, or if you only have one card that's 3 colors in your deck, then that's the only one it'll pull. So it's good to have that card fetch more than one card at a time. I mean, 2 is fine. You don't have to do all 3 different cards if you don't want to or don't have one that's worth pulling. So you might as well not dilute your deck with something that's not worth it. But so Velomachus, we can cast any spell and it will just create a copy with full mana of whatever spell is in my graveyard. So that is what I believe happened there. We'll do another Rite of Flame. And then maybe we'll pull another Meeting of the Five that way. Let's see if we can get to our loyalty abilities a little quicker here. So there's our third ability down, but I think I might just win too quickly here. Too good of a deck. Maybe not. We're able to get that third ability down. And so you'll get to see what happens with Lord Xander before he attacks. I believe the math works out that way. Yep. So that was him destroying 5 cards in your opponent's library. So with that Mr. Orfeo, max damage would be having his third ability go off and then double striking and doubling his power when he attacks. So pretty good combo there, right? Okay, let's move on to the next deck. So the next spotlight will be with Teferi. And what we're doing here is using a blue and white color combo to take advantage of his third ability the best we can. When this creature dies or loses a reinforcement, destroy half the opposing cards at random, rounded down. So what that means is that whenever you get reinforced, you can trigger this ability. So I have a couple of things in here that will do that for me. Echoing Equation and Mindlink Mech. And these both cause you to be reinforced until the end of your turn. So when you lose that reinforcement, his third ability triggers. So you can destroy half of your opponent's cards every time one of these, either you cast Echoing Equation or Mindlink Mech triggers on them. And then we have also Teleportation Circle to continue to trigger his first ability if we want to as well. And then Meeting of the Five will pull in Tamiyo Field Researcher as well. So that's our other tricolor card to work with Meeting of the Five. And then Mock Sapphire Kaito Shizuki will also help us to get the rest of our cards in play. So that's the strategy going forward. Okay, let's see what we got here. All right, well, this will be quick. We got Mock Sapphire and Meeting of the Five in our first starting hand. So let's try and trigger it. There we go. Meeting of the Five. Put a Xander down. And we got another Tamiyo in our hand, ready to cast. We got an Echoing Equation. Okay. So now we got Tamiyo with over 7 shields, so it will trigger that. And okay, let's see. If the opponent can even get more than one card casted, then we'll see what happens here. But if not, we'll see. Well, that triggered that. That's one other way to do it. An Echoing Equation. Let's see. Okay, there's another Lord Xander. Thank you. Although he's not going to be in the first slot, so he won't trigger Mindlink Mech, unfortunately. Or Mindlink Mech will be in the wrong slot. Okay, well, no, we will be in the right slot. Okay, so now we can use Echoing Equation. Okay. It's Echoing Equation. Sure. And there you go. See, it popped that opponent support because we lost a reinforcement. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to get Mindlink Mech back on my Xander, but that is also a way to trigger things. Got our Meeting of the Five and our another Lord Xander on the battlefield. So, okay, draw 4 cards. Not that it'll matter, but we also got a Teleportation Circle going. So you got to see not the greatest example of the way the echoing equation works, but yeah, it's a little better if there's a lot of things on the opponent board, but it's kind of hard for the opponent to do that when you're making them discard so much of their hand anyway. So um, yeah, it's a good way to, I guess, get out of a jam if you have Lord Xander come to the board when your opponent is already really set up and you have echoing equation in there to help whittle down their side of the board. So that's another way to use him. And let's move on to the next way. Okay, so I thought I'd show you a more clear example of Mind Link Mech in action. So let's go ahead and do that. Cut your losses. Let's see. Put pilot back on him. That's annoying. So here we go. And there goes that and that. Because he had 4 cards in play, so that made me able to destroy 2 of his cards. And then, let's see. Hopefully I get rid of his Curse of Oblivion here. Oh, we froze. So here's a deck with Sarkhan Unbroken, aka Brokan. And the way this one is working, we got a lot of the same strategies we were using before. We got Meeting of the Five, Tamiyo Field Researcher. Another thing I wanted to spotlight is Evolving Door and Ochre Jelly. And the way this works is Evolving Door, activate 4. You may destroy the first monocolored creature you control, which will be Ochre Jelly, or a fish token. And if you do, fetch the first creature from your library. Then if the last card in your hand is a multicolored creature, that card gains full mana. So basically, if you pull Lord Xander as your next creature, it will give it full mana. So it's just another way to try and get Lord Xander on the board. And because Ochre Jelly, when this creature dies, create a copy of this card into the battlefield under your control. That will make sure that it doesn't leave the battlefield just because you destroyed it yourself. So just in case you're looking for a way to make this a useful card, that's how I figured it out. So, all right, let's do the match. So one thing I like about using Brokan with Xander is he's going to be the only creature I pull with my 3rd ability. So that means when I use his 3rd ability, I can effectively make him discard his whole hand when I put him on the board. So that's really fun. See if we can get there pretty quickly. Make our vanguards do some work for us. Sure, whatever. We're probably going to sacrifice you anyway. So just to get you on the board. And then Brokan, let's do your 3rd ability. And since we're not going to win right here, I'm going to save my Xanders for when he's got cards in his hand that we want to get rid of. Lord Xander, cut your losses, which is an awesome card. And then another fun thing you can do with cut your losses is, or Ochre Jelly, is sacrifice it to cut your losses casualty value. So that makes it so that we can re-trigger the 10 blue mana conversion and destroying 10 cards in your opponent's library if that's something you also want to take advantage of if you have something built for that. And then, hey, why not use Evolving Door and show you how that works. Well, he's gone the next turn, so yeah, I found that with this deck, Lord Xander is just doing so much to keep your opponent just on the ropes the entire time you're casting him and just wrecking all sorts of strategies. It's so fun. Just for the heck of it, why not? Completely unnecessary, but it's fun. So, yeah, it's a couple of neat things you can do. You got a little extra mini spotlight of Evolving Door. I actually wasn't able to trigger it this time, but that's how I use Evolving Door. Okay, so the last fun deck I have for you is with Tamiyo, and it's kind of a little bit of a mashup of a few different strategies we've already been using. We got Evolving Door in Meeting of the Five. You get Tamiyo on the board as well. But then we also got Velomachus to get our other cards ready and going. I actually don't need Mox Pearl in here. I might as well use Cut Your Losses instead, because it's another blue card that Mox Sapphire can get for us. And Velomachus can summon it to do all sorts of fun things with. So we'll do that instead. And then my idea is to use Evolving Door with Faithbound Judge so that when we sacrifice it, create that Sinner's Judgment token, which will continuously fill our Planeswalkers' loyalty up. So let's have lots of fun with this deck. All right? Okay, so I understand it is super risky to go against a Rawl without any sort of support destruction, but we're just going to wing it here and see what happens. It's possible he's not using a wizard class deck, but highly unlikely. Wow, that Cut Your Losses didn't do anything for us. But that's okay. We'll get Meeting of the Five down soon. I was hoping that would cascade into a match so I could use my Meeting of the Five here. But that's okay. It wouldn't have triggered anyway. So let's see. Can we do this? Yeah. Without wasting a shield. And Lord Xander is actually a decent card to use against Raw, because if he doesn't have enough cards in his hand, his wizard class won't really trigger. So that's one way of keeping yourself safe in a Raw match. But sometimes there's just not a lot you can do anyway. So let's see what happens. So now we got our Tamiyo with shields. Okay, a Teferi. Interesting. Yeah, there's no Vanguard or any sort of removal in this deck. So that's a little scary. not a way I would recommend you go against Raw normally, but we'll see. Oops, that's not mine. Do you ever accidentally try and use your opponent's Vanguard? Cut your losses. Oh, that was interesting. Weird. I did not know that. So the casualty is not working correctly on Faithbound Judge. That's a bug. I think it's trying to deal damage to yourself to trigger the um I think what's happening there is that it's doing the old way of the way that this game used to handle kill spells is that it would actually just do damage equal to your toughness to yourself. So they found that that needed to be changed in order for things to actually kill you when they needed to change that when you ran against creatures that had prevent damage. So I think that's how they coded cut your losses, because otherwise that should have destroyed my Faithbound Judge. But since it had prevent damage, let's try it one more time. Okay, casualty, destroy target creature. Yeah, no. I think it's preventing the damage. Wow, that's a very exploitable bug that I'm just gonna share with the world here. Wow, that's really cool. So cut your losses. You don't even have to sacrifice a creature if you don't want to, if you have something with prevent damage in play. So, okay. Interesting. Good to know. So, yeah, without any downside, you can trigger 20 blue gem conversion per casting if you have Faithbound Judge on the battlefield. So, report that to your local bug catchers, and I'll see you in the next video. Hope you guys had as much fun watching this as I did creating it. Oh, yeah. So, one last thing before I go. I wanted to say that there is actually a full art version of Lord Xander. So, if you want to make sure you have this card, then save up 400 crystals for when Fibblethip um, offers him in the vault. So, just wanted to give you guys a heads up in case you were not aware of that. And yeah, all right. I'll see you in the next video.